The appeal of an RPG game is as simple as it is genius. I am currently writing a script for this genre, but here's a short summary because I know none of you will watch this video. In an RPG, you explore a new or already known world, where you as the player take the role of a vessel character or an already existing character that you as the player can take control and explore this world and take action that forms your character, or to be more specific, forms your ideal version of yourself.
You don't want to be like this.
And with the help of this ideal version of yourself, you can take action that you can't make in the real world, like using magic, being an explorer, or being a survivor in a zombie apocalypse. And if the game allows you, you can even be the most evil motherfucker in existence.
I don't like where this is going.
By making the most vile and cruelest decision in the game. And on your journey, your character or your ideal self becomes stronger and learns new skills. But how do you become stronger or learn new skills that allows you to get stronger way faster? Well, in a typical roleplay game, strength is measured by leveling up and collecting EXP points, which allows you, the player, to become stronger by increasing your stat. But all of these self-fulfilling choices are being financed by a typical genocide of the wild population. Because in a typical RPG, you get to the tall grass and kill a lot of innocent creatures. But none of these actions have lasting consequences. Because at the end, all of these creatures that you killed are nomads, that don't have names, that don't have their own stories. And in the end, they can just respawn because there are an unlimited amount of them. I mean, if I want, I can just kill 500 Rattatas and there will still come more Rattatas and try to kill me. So it's no wonder that a casual RPG player who never heard of Undertale would do the same thing at his first playthrough. So let's roleplay as this average Joe who never played Undertale in his entire life. I know, it's a hard task. For many of you, it's nearly impossible. But just do it, alright? Just do it. You, average Joe, just fall down to the underground. And you, average Joe, immediately almost get killed by a flower, who at first seemed like a genuine nice guy who tries to help you by being Mr. Tutorial. But this flower gives you, the player, average Joe, the most important message of this game. It's killed or be smoked on Grove Street, bro. And right afterwards, he tries to get the AK-47 to kill us for Grove Street. But we get saved by a goat milk. And before you ask why I call her goat milf, the last time I tried to search for an image of her, the only thing I could find were porn pictures. And I searched on Google. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Anyways, goat milf is seen as a kind and caring person due to the fact that she marks every trap in the ruins to assure that you solve the puzzles and don't get hurt. And when you as the player are entering the room with the dummy, she says that you need to talk to the dummy. Some will talk to it, but this action is boring. I mean, I wanted to see some punches, slash, kaboom, and some sexy bitches. And I don't want to talk to a dummy who tells me that his wife divorced him and that he's now living on the street. Heck, I would be more entertained if he told me something, but instead he just stands there, not even menacingly. So many of us would just simply, as the average Joe, just click the fight button and punch this dummy, which gives us a rather unpleased look from the goat lady. My apology, goat milf. But who cares? She later on leaves us like every family member. So we are on our own and need to make our own decision without the guidance of a goat MILF. So it's no wonder that we get immediately jumped by some monsters, and they don't seem so friendly. In fact, they're out to kill us. And because of our average Joe mentality and of the warning words of Flowey that this world is a kill or be killed world, we push the fight button and slay the wild creature and get greeted by a rather pleasing and well-known EXP sound effect. And we immediately ask ourselves, how many monsters do we need to kill to get a level up? Most likely we need to kill this goat MILF at the end of the ruin, so why don't we grind a little bit? At first, every monster you faced were rather happy of facing you. Heck, they jumped right at you because of the fact that Undertale is an RPG which relies on the random encounter feature, where you don't know what will come out of the grass and kill you. Pokemon and many other RPG from the old days did use this mechanic as a means to save space and frame and keep the player on their toe of what they could catch or what they could farm for EXP. But that would also mean that you could get creatures that are rather small and weak, meaning that a Pokemon like Warpool, bog Pokemon that is considered a coward, is ready to jump you, even though it isn't part of its nature and doesn't make a lot of sense when it just saw how you killed every single creature with a fire chicken from hell. But who cares? They will just respawn. They are not living creatures, they're just numbers from a code. The only thing there are free EXP points. But in Undertale this is different. When you start slowly killing everyone around you, the monster don't spawn as much as they used to be at the beginning, which is strange. In Pokemon and other RPG you could kill for hours creatures and they still aren't extinct. But here in Undertale it seems like they are hiding from you. They don't want to fight you. The average Joe would most likely give up after a long time of searching for many enemies and say, alright, level 2 or level 3 is good enough to fight against the first boss. I'm confident that I could beat her. Some other people would like to grind a little more, so they kill more monster even though it takes a long time of them to spawn in, and without even knowing they accidentally started the genocide run, because when they killed the last creature and readied themselves for the next creature, they get instead greeted by a battle animation with the text "but nobody came" and a rather ominous music that reflects the now empty ruin, showcasing that you killed with your action every single life in the ruins. And for what? Increasing your level number from 1 up to 4. And finally, after killing every NPC, you come to Toriel's house, aka the goat MILF house, where you get greeted. And she asks you, the player, why you are covered with dust, which is the so-called monster blood. This dialogue only appears when you do the genocide run. In the neutral run, where you only kill a few monster, she is rather happy that you made it safe and with no harm. She even lets you live in her house and adopts you at the spot. You as the player immediately feel like you're at home because of the rather harmonious music called Home, which is rather ironic, I must say, but it is fitting. You even get from the goat MILF your own room, which is nicely decorated and has all the toys a child could need. And you as the player can explore everything except the basement, because every time you try to escape into the basement, Toriel tries by dragging you up the stairs. So you just sleep for a day, enter Toriel's baking room, eat a delicious pie, and she tells you a lot of interesting facts about snails. She makes everything that you as the player feel like you are at home. But this is an RPG. You need to explore the world. You didn't buy Ruin Simulator. You want to explore what kinds of worlds are there. You want to learn magic. You want to slaughter more monsters. So you ask her how to leave the ruins. She tries to pick up a different different topic. You pursue your wish to leave the ruins. So she just stands up and goes down to the basement. You follow her, and she states that every time a child comes here, they all want to leave, but all of them die because he, Asgore, always kills them at the end. And she doesn't want another child to leave the ruins and die, so she will be destroying the entrance of the ruins so that no one can leave and no one can enter. But you can't allow that, so you as the player readies yourself to fight her. And this fight is a rather sad one, which is explained through the gameplay, because Toriel doesn't want to fight you. She, of course, uses fire magic, and because she is a boss monster and a rather powerful one at that, she has the ability to hurt you extremely well. But whenever you are at 2 HP or 1 HP, she refuses to attack you with her fire attacks. But you as the player don't give her the satisfaction of having the moral high ground. Even the pacifist player, who always relied on the X option, are completely confused on what to do to spare her. Should you just dodge all the way, or should you try to fight her? But Genocides and Neutral Run players have no problem attacking her. The Neutral Run players attack Toriel and realize how much damage you do to her, and I feel like their training and grinding did something, because you make extreme amount of damage. And also the newly found toy weapon was a great investment, because you even make more damage. So you continue your attack parade until you as a neutral player kill Toriel and get greeted by a heartbreaking conversation with Toriel. You feel bad, but you know it had to be done. It had to be done because you didn't know what else to do but to kill her. So after seeing her turn to dust, you enter the new room where you get greeted by Flowey, who states that you could just reset everything, but you won't do it because you are as a monster as he is. That you see everything as a game because you can control the world with the ability to reset, load and save. The confrontation changes if you as the player did a genocide run, as well as the outcome with the Toriel fight. When you do the genocide run, you don't get the satisfaction of feeling like you had a good fight, because one punch and the enemy is down. You are basically one punch man. And when the enemy is down, another heartwarming dialogue comes up, but this time Toriel thinks you hate her and that she didn't protect you from the monster, but the monster from you by keeping you in the ruins. After that, you get to Flowey, where Flowey is rather pleased by your action and says that he will be your partner, and together you will kill every single being in the underground. But the genocide run is for another video. We are still on a neutral run. Anyways, after you kill Toriel and had your conversation with Flowey, you have two options. Either you become a suck up and reset the timeline and try to mercy every single monster and play Undertale the so-called right way, or you continue your parade as a neutral bastard. For this video we say that we decide as the average Joe to continue operate as a neutral bastard. So we enter the new world called Snowdin, where we get greeted by many strange creatures. A naive but nice looking skeleton called pə-PY-rəs, a rather creepy skeleton called sænz, and a lot of strange residents who are ready to kill you. These people who are ready to kill you are most likely the residents and the royal guard. So you get your knife ready and slay as many as you can. But unlike the creatures from the ruin, who can only communicate with grunts and with shocked expressions, some of them really can talk and ask you why you are attacking them, why you are hurting them, and what they have done wrong. Some of them even plead when you kill someone that they don't become the next one. And when you kill one of the dogs from the royal guard, the partner of the dog will be rather sad, even heartbroken. This is showcased by the attack patterns that turned from axes to tier attacks. After killing a lot of residents of Snowdin on your way to Snowdin, you finally enter the bar, which slowly but surely became more empty. Some resident even states how many of the residents are missing and asks what happened to them. So you as the player realize, damn, my action do have consequences. And when the time runs out, you have the option to kill him or spare him. When you spare him, you become his friend. When you kill him, he is rather shot and dies in a brutal way, where his complete body turns slowly but surely into dust. And so your journey continues up to Waterfall, where you as the player kill some more residents. And then in the end, Undyne the heroine confronts you with the kills you committed by telling you the story of what these monsters always wanted to do. So she fights for the fallen monsters. But you as the player finally have a fair fight against someone and fight against this fish heron. She also fights with her full power and is ready to kill you. So you see this as a fair fight. So after a long battle, you finally got her on your knees. And I don't mean it in the Pornhub style. I mean it in you beat her down. And surprisingly, she still fights against you, even though her body slowly but surely melts away, because she doesn't want to die against a monster like you. But her attacks become slower and slower, her music becomes slower and more depressing as it already was, and you have a much easier time beating her down. And in the end, she completely melts away and you won the battle. But at what cost? You feel completely guilty that you killed the last heroine of the underground in such a brutal way, at that to boot. So once again, you have two other options. Either you are a complete wuss and reset timeline and do a pacifist run, or you continue onward and try to get home. Maybe this is the right way to play Undertale. So you get to Hotland, and I hate Hotland, so let's skip Hotland. So you get to the castle. You get greeted by all the monsters who tells you their story, their dream of wanting to free themselves, and then you finally get confronted by the judge. It turns out that the seemingly small and rather weird skeleton is the judge of the underground, and he confronts you with all your sins and explains us the player that EXP is an acronym for execution points and LV is an acronym for level of violence, and the more execution points you collect, the more violent you become. And because you collected a lot of EXP points, you are currently unredeemable. You are a true monster under monsters. But sænz doesn't want to fight us. He only wants to judge us from our sins. Because in the end, sænz is still lazy. So according to your level, he judges us differently. If we are level 2, he gives us a B+ and states that we didn't accidentally kill someone. Or maybe we did. If we are at level 5, he thinks about if we did it out of self-defense or just for killing some monsters. If we are at level 9, almost at level 10, he states that this is almost the half amount of a level to gain, meaning that we could be 50% evil, but 50% or 20% is still a failing grade, and we will be judged by our sins. We are just bad at being evil. There are many other judgment calls, but the most important part of the judgment is probably the one where we only kill pə-PY-rəs, or where pə-PY-rəs is part of our victims, because he immediately asks if when we have a special power, if it's our responsibility to do good things, basically asking us the Uncle Ben question. If we answer with no, he just says, well, I guess it's your viewpoint. Well, I'm not here to judge you, you dirty brother killer. I find it interesting that sænz only really judges us if it's about his brother, but not about any other monster. But that only showcases how much he loves his brother in this world where everything could be taken away from him, with just a child with the power of loading and resetting. But more on that when we come to his final battle in a genocide run. But let's just wrap it up because this video is way too long as it should be. So after killing Asgore or sparing Asgore, you fight Flowey. After killing Flowey or giving Flowey mercy, you get greeted by, according to your action, different kinds of end sequence. Because it turns out that sænz the judge got your phone number after a long time of searching the whole telephone book and wanted to tell you how the underground became after you left. And according to your action, it will look different. When you, for example, never killed a single boss monster but didn't befriend Undyne, Undyne will start a revolution and will take over the throne and plan to eradicate all of humanity. If you killed everyone except pə-PY-rəs, pə-PY-rəs will become king, and he is rather depressed because he knows that all his friends are dead. But he keeps on going because he believes that he can truly change something. If you kill every single boss monster, well, the underground become completely quiet and no one wants to step up and become the new king. Every monster lost their hope and dreams because of your action. There are many more endings to Undertale, to be exact 25, but I don't want to cover every single one of them. If you want, I can do that. But for now, let's finish the video by saying following. In conclusion, Undertale is an interesting game that doesn't rely on the power fantasy of just killing every single being and giving the beings that you as the player are grinding more personality and their personal life. They are more than the numbers on the screen and the XP points you collect, which can already be seen by their gameplay and attack patterns. Because, for example, Toriel used fire magic, but when you're low at HP, she doesn't want to attack you. Asgore, for example, decreases his attack when he sees you eating Toriel's pie, which reminds him of a more happier time. pə-PY-rəs only decreases your HP points up to 1 so that he can capture you and put you in a cell. And if you kill any one of them, well, their death have consequences. Because in the end, if you only kill just one single being, you are seen as a monster. When you kill, for example, a lot of Rattatas in Pokemon, no one bats an eye on it. But here in Undertale, this is different. Because of all the personalities and life all these monsters have lived and want to continue living. And you as the player are always reminded of what you have done because of the game's mechanic to remember when you saved or when you load something, when you reset something or when you killed someone. With this simple mechanic, you as the player feel even more responsible and more guiltful than before, which lets you consider resetting and doing the right way, the pacifist route, where you as the player spare everyone, talk to everyone, and know more about these characters and give them a second chance. And because you as the player gave them a second chance, they are willing to give humanity and therefore yourself a second chance. And in the end, they refuse to attack you. Because in the end, they realize that you are a pretty nice guy. Because you didn't murder anyone. This self-reflection just showcased the true attention of Undertale and Toby Fox's dream of what Undertale would be capable of. But instead, the Genocide Run got glorified and was seen as the only path, as the only story, while the Neutral Runs and the Pacifist Run was for the most time completely ignored. But why is the Genocide Run such an interesting storytelling concept? Well, if this video gets, I don't know, like 50 likes, I will make a genocide video where I will talk about why the Genocide Run is such an amazing concept. And if you want more videos, please check out my other channel called Tale, where I will post a lot of Undertale related stuff. And click the subscribe button as well as the bell to be up to date, because I will plan on uploading more videos on this channel. But anyways, goodbye.